SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
This is Raceday, sponsored by SwimOutlet.com. I'm your host, Tiffany Elias, joined with Jeff Cummings and John Lone, and we've just wrapped up day 7 here in Omaha of the USA Swimming Trials. One more day to go, and tonight was a really exciting night. Let's get started off with our swim of the night. Jeff, what was it for you?
It was Katie Ledecky in that 800 freestyle. Just showed a lot of experience beyond her 15 years, going out really hard, just pushing the pace and holding on to it. I mean, we're all down in the media area just wondering if she's going to be able to hold on to this. Now, she's done this before. She's been able to go out hard and she's been able to kind of hold paces, but you know, she's never been in the Olympic trials final where, you know, she's got the experience of people like Kate Ziegler, Chloe Sutton, and all those other girls. But she held on, and that was just an amazing thing to watch.
While you say she's taken it out before, she's never taken it out at an 8:19 pace, which, wow.
Yeah.
I was one of those people thinking, my God, is she going to come back to them? Are they going to track her down? And she just stayed steady. And that was, for a 15-year-old kid, especially one to bounce back off of 3rd place in the 400 freestyle the other day, that says a lot about her moxie.
Yeah.
Well, and were you shocked by the 8:19? That's only 3 seconds off Janet Evans' American record. A pretty impressive swim for here. What can we expect or try to predict for London?
It's the number 2 time in the world right now, so I don't think there's any reason we couldn't see her medal. She's on such an up curve with her career, and so her improvements are going to be rapid. The problem is that Rebecca Adlington is kind of here, and then there's everybody a notch below. So I'm not sure she can contend for the gold medal, but then again, God, we didn't expect an 8:19 out of her tonight, so
yeah,
who knows?
I think it's, again, it's just really just a process of the coaches is really working with her to mentally prepare her for that. Physically, I think she can do it. Mentally, standing up against people like Rebecca Addington, a lot of frees, might be a little tough for a 15-year-old.
A little intimidating. Well, general consensus, that was the swim of the night. Let's get into the first event, which was the women's 200 backstroke. We talked about this being a potential world record. If any's going to be broken here, it's going to be Misty Franklin. Not a world record, 206.1, still a solid swim. In for second, Elizabeth Beisel clocking in another swim in London, and then Pelton, unfortunately, with her second third-place finish of the meet, which is not uncommon to see someone get multiple third-place finishes, but Pelton's the wall 208.
I really expected her to push the pace earlier. I mean, she held back so much, and I think she was probably thinking, you know, I'm not going to make the same mistake I did in the 200 IM.
She had a lot left at the end.
She had a lot left, and so she's probably looking back and saying, if I had just gone out in the strategy that I'm used to doing, it might have worked out differently.
Well, good. She said that in her post-interview. She said, I wanted to relax that first 100 and then really push the second 100. But why would she change her strategy in the most important race of her life?
Exactly.
The one thing that stood out to me in that race, 206.10, tremendous time, but that's what convinced me that Missy Franklin definitely has a lot more to show in London, because she's much faster than a 206.10 200 backstroke. So that's the one that convinced me that she didn't come into this guns blazing. She was probably a percentage of where she's going to be in 3 to 4 weeks. What a great sign.
Yeah, the only race where she improved on her times was the 100 backstroke, which was a huge improvement. But you know, everything else was just a little bit off. So I agree with John. I think there's just a little bit more in the tank, and you know, it's like what we're going to see with Ryan and Michael. I mean, it could be scary.
She becomes the first woman to tackle a 7-event program. Katie Hoff, Natalie Coughlin did the 6 4 years ago. You know it's inevitable, and we're going to do it here starting now, because she is going to be compared to Lochte. She's going to be compared to Phelps. But when you take on a program that has 7 events, that's inevitable. So here we go. And she seems to me so mentally prepared to handle this, because she's just an unflustered kid.
Yeah.
She just loves every minute of this.
Almost to a point where it's almost the pressure is naive to her. You know, it's like it's almost like she doesn't realize. She does realize. She knows what's going on, but it just doesn't
she eats
faze
up the
her.
moment, right? Yeah. She just enjoys herself. She doesn't get rattled by anything, and to be able to let all that pressure just roll off your back the way she does is, you can't teach that. You either have it innately or you have a problem dealing with that kind of heat that's on you.
Right.
All right, well, let's move on to the men's 100 butterfly, and almost thought Tyler McGill was going to outtouch Phelps, but of course Phelps has the Phelps classic finish and gets his hand on the wall just in front of Tyler McGill. 51-1 for Phelps, 51-3 for McGill, and Lochte out of lane 1 grabbing 3rd place. Had he have had maybe 5 more meters, I think he could have been in there. But 51-6 for Lochte. It was an impressive swim.
Well, what he said in his post-race interview is he did kind of a training session earlier today. So if he had just said, you know, maybe I'll just try to just see what I could do, and if he had, you know, would drop it later or right after the event, so be it. But I think it's got to send a message to Michael that, you know, I'm not the best. You know, I've got to work on my butterfly if I'm going to, you know, even harder if I'm going to be challenging Ryan in that 400 IM.
The amazing thing off of that Lochte swim, and I guess then we'll get to the first and second place guys, that's the number 4 time in the world this year. That just goes to show where this guy is and how far he's come. For him, in say maybe his 5th or 6th best event, is now the number 4 person in the world.
Dangerous.
That's scary.
I mean, just think about what he could possibly do once Michael Phelps is done. Maybe we'll see him, you know, drop maybe a 200 backstroke in favor of this 100 fly maybe next year at World Championships, just to see what he can do.
I agree with you. I think after he gets through London and then starts focusing on Barcelona, he's going to be playing around with some different things to show just how much his range stretches, because it is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Up next was the ladies 800 freestyle. We already jumped into this event earlier. Kate Ziegler and Katie Ledecky punching in their tickets. Ledecky once again 8:19. Ziegler 3 seconds behind her, 8:21, and Haley Anderson grabbing that 3rd place position.
Terrific to see Kate Ziegler get back to the Olympics, and in a way where she's enjoying this ride there much more than she was 4 years ago, where I felt going to Beijing, she and Katie Hoff had just an immense amount of pressure on them, and I think it got to both of them over there. And Kate Ziegler has said in the past that she wasn't loose in Beijing. She wasn't enjoying the moment, and I think she is now. And I think that showed tonight. I think that's going to show over in London. Whether that translates into a medal, I don't know, but I think she's going to swim well.
I think it's definitely going to be improvement of what she did in 2008.
Can't be worse.
Can't be much worse. So yeah, it's just really good to see that. You know, it's kind of interesting. 2008 we had a Katie and a Kate, and 2012 we got a Katie and a Kate again. Wrong Kate, a different Katie, but still just immense promise in that event.
All right, moving on to the men's 50 freestyle, which was probably the 2nd best event of the night. Nathan Adrian will not be swimming the 50 freestyle in London, as he got 3rd place behind Colin Jones, who does it again in the sprint freestyle, gets his hand on the wall first, 21.59, 1/100th of a second behind him is Anthony Irvin. Shocking to everybody watching.
How about Colin Jones and the way he approached the final of both the 50 free and the 100 free? This guy just lurked, and he lurked, just did enough, got through, outside lane, and then when it mattered, there he was. And he was prepared, and I don't think anybody, he just caught people by surprise, I think, in those 2 races, just because of the way he didn't show his hand. 21.59, that's number 2 in the world. 21.60, number 3. The sprinters, 50 sprinters are looking great. There's 5 guys under 22 there. That's sensational.
Yeah, it's much better than our 100.
Yeah.
So
still makes no sense.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
All right, well, last event of the night was the semifinals. 50 free on the ladies' side. Jessica Hardy with another heartfelt swim out there, 24.56. In behind her, Christine Magnuson, 24.7. Dana Torres getting her hand on the wall, 3rd, going into finals tomorrow. She seemed pretty happy with her 24.8.
I can't believe that Christine Magnuson is 2nd seed in the 50 freestyle. I mean, she's. I have never known her to be a 50 freestyler. I don't think she's ever known herself to be a 50 freestyler. But I think once you train with Rick DeMott down there at University of Arizona, you become a 50 freestyler anyway. So it's kind of just one of those things that just happens to go along the way. Speaking of which, there's 4 Arizona girls in that final. So really showing off that great sprint program there.
And how about Dara Torres, 45 years old, turns it on a little bit more tonight, drops 2/10 from the morning, 24.80. It's 800ths off of Magnuson's number 2 seed.
Predictions for tomorrow. Where's the race?
Dara Torres gets on the Olympic team.
I think Christine Magnuson gets on it with Jessica. I don't think Dara has enough to. She's going to have to drop like 4/10, and I don't think she has enough to drop 4.
4/10?
4/10. I think it's going to be.
You're telling me 24.4?
I think 24.4 is going to make the Olympic team.
Wow. So I think Magnuson's about where she's going to be. 24/7, 20. So
I don't know if you remember, she jammed her walls at the finish.
And
so
she said that. She said,
yeah.
that's what I need to correct tomorrow.
And so I think that could have been at least at 2/10, a tenth at most. So
yeah, I just don't see the Americans having anybody under 24.5.
We didn't see a lot of things this week, though, and it happened. So
true, but at the same time, Hardy's where she is. I don't know. That'd be great to see, but I just
great to see.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think there's going to have to be a little bit more of a drop for Dara that I don't think that she has, even though she's got about 24 hours to rest. I just don't see it happening for her.
She's there getting all the kinks out with that whole team walking all over her right now.
Well, that wrapped up the session for Day 7 finals. Only 2 more events tomorrow. There will not be prelims in the morning for Day 8. Let's look ahead. We've already really covered the 50 freestyle. We're going to see that final for the ladies tomorrow. Men's 1500 happened earlier today. Leading the way is Andrew Gamel, 14:57. Connor Jaeger in for second, 14:59. We've also got Arthur Frailer in the mix, Peter Vanderkay, Michael McBroom, Chad LaTourette. Where's the race at here?
This is a real wide open one. I think it was that way right when the psych sheets came out because it's not a real strong event for the United States. So the 2 guys who make this team are going to have a ton of work to do just to make a final over in London. That, just because we're not strong, is what makes this thing open. Gemmel had a great swim this morning. Connor Jaeger goes under 15 minutes, and he swam a 15:75.
15 to the feet.
He goes on the feet thinking he had another 100 meters to go, and it wasn't until he swam 75 more that he figured it out. So let's hope that 75 meters doesn't come up and catch him.
Well, if he counts right tomorrow, I think he'll have calculated correctly, and that's probably another huge drop because he probably wasn't thinking this is a 1500. Right. I can pick it up. So, I think John's right. There's such a wide open race, and Chad LaTourette went to Worlds with Peter Vanderkay. So those 2 you can kind of think might be up there, but these young guys, Andrew Gemmel, Connor Jaeger, they could be dangerous.
What do they need to be going time-wise to be competitive with the world?
A lot faster.
Under 14:50.
Got to be 14, more closer. I would say 14:45, 46.
Probably
and
right,
I don't foresee that being there tomorrow.
No.
Well, might have to pick that up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But that wraps up Day 7 here in Omaha of the USA Swimming Trials. Make sure to go to Swimming World TV to watch interviews throughout the course of this week. I'm Tiffany Elias with Jeff Cummings and John Lone. Thanks for following our race day. John and I will continue all the way on to London. Jeff will be back in the studio to bring you the same race day coverage. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook to keep up with live results. We will see you again after Day 8 tomorrow, the last and final day of USA Swimming Trials.